We're going to keep hiring new claims processors. And we're going to keep investing in new paperless systems and keep moving ahead with our innovation competition in which our dedicated VA employees are developing new ways to process your claims faster. We want your claims to be processed not in months, but in days. So the bottom line is this: your claims need to be processed quickly and accurately, the first time. We're not going to rest until we get that done. We will not rest. The same is true for our mission to end homelessness among our veterans. Already, we've helped to bring tens of thousands of veterans off the streets. For the first time ever, we've made veterans and military families a priority not just at the VA. Not just at DOD, but across the federal government. And that includes making sure that federal agencies are working together. So that every veteran who fought for America has a home in America. We're working to fulfill our obligations to our 9/11 generation veterans, especially our wounded warriors. The constant threat of IEDs has meant a new generation of service. Members with multiple traumatic injuries, including traumatic brain injury. And thanks to advanced armor and medical technologies. Our troops are surviving injuries that would have been fatal in previous wars. So we're saving more lives, but more American veterans live with severe wounds for a lifetime. That's why we need to be for them for their lifetime. We're giving unprecedented support to our wounded warriors, especially those with traumatic brain injury. And thanks to the Veterans and Caregivers legislation I signed into law. We've started training caregivers so that they can receive the skills and the stipends that they need to care for their loved ones. We're working aggressively to address another signature wound of this war. Which has led to too many fine troops and veterans to take their own lives, and that's post-traumatic stress disorder. We're continuing to make major investments improving outreach and suicide prevention. Hiring and training more mental health counselors, and treating more veterans than ever before. The days when depression and PTSD were stigmatized, those days must end. That's why I made the decision to start sending condolence letters to the families of service members who take their lives while deployed in a combat zone. These Americans did not die because they were weak. They were warriors. They deserve our respect. Every man and woman in uniform, every veteran. Needs to know that your nation will be there to help you stay strong. It's the right thing to do. In recent months, we've heard new reports of some of our veterans. Not getting the prompt mental health care that they desperately need. And that, too, is unacceptable. If a veteran has the courage to seek help, then we need to be doing everything in our power to deliver the life-saving mental care that they need. So Secretary Shinseki and the VA are going to stay on this. And will continue to make it easier for veterans with post-traumatic stress to qualify for VA benefits. Regardless of the war that you served in. If you served in a combat theater and a VA doctor confirms a diagnosis of PTSD, that's enough. Which brings me to the final area where America must meet its obligations to our veterans. And this is a place where we need each other, and that's the task of renewing our nation's economic strength. After a decade of war, it's time to focus on nation building here at home. And our veterans, especially our 9/11 veterans, have the skills and the dedication to help lead the way. That's why we're funding the Post 9/11G. Bill, which is now helping more than 500,000 veterans and family members go to college, get their degrees. And play their part in moving America forward. It's why, this fall, we'll start including vocational training and apprenticeships as well, so veterans can develop the skills to succeed in today's economy. And that's why I've directed the federal government to hire more veterans. Including more than 100,000 veterans in the past year and a half alone. But in this tough economy, far too many of our veterans are still unemployed. That's why I've proposed a comprehensive initiative to make sure we're tapping the incredible talents of our veterans. And it's got two main parts. First, we're going to do more to help our newest veterans find and get that private sector job. We're going to offer more help with career development and job searches. I've directed DOD and the VA to create what we're calling a reverse boot camp to help our newest veterans prepare for civilian jobs and translate their exceptional Military skills into industry accepted licenses and credentials. And today I'm calling on every state to pass legislation that makes it easier for our veterans to get the credentials and the jobs for which they are so clearly qualified. This needs to happen, and it needs to happen now. Second, we're encouraging the private sector to do its part. So I've challenged companies across America to hire or train 100,000 unemployed veterans or their spouses. And this builds on the commitments that many companies have already made as part of the Joining Forces campaign. Championed by the First Lady and the Vice President's spouse, Dr. Jill Biden, 100,000 jobs for veterans and spouses. And to get this done, I proposed a returning heroes tax credit for companies that hire unemployed. Veterans and a wounded warrior tax credit for companies that hire unemployed veterans with a disability. When Congress returns from recess, this needs to be at the top of their agenda. For the sake of our veterans, for the sake of our economy, we need these veterans working and contributing. And creating the new jobs and industries that will keep America competitive in the 21st century. These are the obligations we have to each other, our forces, our veterans, our citizens. These are the responsibilities we must fulfill. Not just when it's easy, not just when we're flush with cash, not just when it's convenient, but always. That's a lesson we learned again this year in the life and in the passing of Frank Buckles. Our last veteran from the First World War. He passed away at the age of 110. Think about it. Frank lived the American century. An ambulance driver on the Western Front, he bore witness to the carnage of the trenches in Europe. Then during the Second World War, he survived more than 3 years in Japanese prisoner of war camps. Then, like so many veterans, he came home, went to school, pursued a career. Started a family, lived a good life on his farm in West Virginia. Even in his later years, after turning 100, Frank Buckles still gave back to his country. He'd go speak to school children about his extraordinary life. He'd meet and inspire other veterans. And for 80 years, he served as a proud member of the American Legion. The day he was laid to rest, I ordered the flags be flown at half-staff at the White House. At the government buildings across the nation, at our embassies around the world. As Frank Buckles lay in honor at Arlington's Memorial Chapel. Hundreds passed by his flag-draped casket in quiet procession. Most were strangers who never knew him, but they knew the story of his service. And they felt compelled to offer their thanks to this American soldier. And that afternoon, I had the privilege of going over to Arlington and spending a few moments with Frank's daughter. Susanna, who cared for her father to the very end. And it was a chance for me to convey the gratitude of an entire nation and to pay my respects to an American who reflected the best of who we are as a people. And, legionnaires, it was a reminder not just to the family and friends of Corporal Frank Buckles, but to the veterans and families of every generation, no matter when you serve. No matter how many years ago that you took off the uniform. No matter how long you live as a proud veteran of this country we love, America will never leave your side. America will never forget. We will always be grateful to you. God bless you. God bless all our veterans. And God bless the United States of America. Barack Obama. Speech to the American Medical Association. Delivered June 15, 2009, Hyatt Regency, Chicago, Illinois. Thank you so much. Please, everybody, be seated. Thank you very much. You're very kind. Thank you. Let me begin by thanking Nancy for the wonderful introduction. I want to thank Dr. Joseph Heyman, the chair of the Board of Trustees, as well as Dr. Jeremy Lazarus, Speaker of House of Delegates. Thanks to all of you for bringing me home, even if it's just for a day. From the moment I took office as president, the central challenge we've confronted as a nation has been the need to lift ourselves out of the worst recession since World War II. In recent months, we've taken a series of extraordinary steps. Not just to repair the immediate damage to our economy, but to build a new foundation for lasting and sustained growth.